Good day, brethren. How are you? Hope everyone's doing okay today. As for myself, I'm doing great today. Praise you, Yahuwah, the Holy One who is and there is no other, from everlasting to everlasting. Hallelujah in the highest. Yod He Vav He Yahweh Etoe. The title of today's video is called, or titled, something amiss, the stairwell. Let us begin. The man in white linen with a hood, and his journey along a parallel highway along with his fellows. The woman with the wisdom, the woman with the seven spirits, the one who has no power as of yet. Nevertheless, he remembers to humble himself always before the throne of the Yahweh of creation and of all that exists. After all, he is but a vessel, and to put Yahweh first, and to trust the living Creator always. Blessed be your name, Yahweh, from everlasting to everlasting. Amen. While on the path, he finds himself in a house, an unfamiliar one to say the least. Wherefore he is in the kitchen eating, whence he sees mother, Miriam, alongside her brother, standing across from him by the main entranceway. When suddenly she spoke, saying, Carl does not want you eating his food. In disbelief, he responds, saying, Are you serious? His uncle spoke afterwards, saying, Carl does not want you in his house. He responds, saying, Did not you know it is my father who blesses me? So he heads on downstairs to pack. He enters through the back door and comes across a long stretch of a wooden stairway on the slope side of a hill, which led downhill, all the while talking to mother and uncle. He knew Carl was at home. So he looks through the glass door and into a see through curtain and sees mother and uncle boxing things up and putting stuff away. Whence he turns the other way and walks down a beautiful stairwell made of wood. Upon reaching the very bottom of the stairwell, with the main deck overlooking nature, just across from him stood a small white cabin. Soon after, he finds himself in bed and awakens to a mystifying sight. He notices a young boy, brown skinned with black hair, laying next to him on the very same bed. Confused, he asks the boy, What are you doing here? He gets out of bed and immediately starts packing his things. The boy present, he readies himself and heads back up the stairwell. And as he is about to hand over the house key to Carl, the young boy grabs the house key out of his hand and takes off running. He would stop for a moment and run again in a teasing manner, laughing along the way. He asked the boy for the house key, but he would not. He kept on running, stopping on occasion. So he chases after the boy till he comes across a pond with rocks alongside the waters. A beautiful pond it is. He catches up to the boy and sees him teasingly jumping off and onto the rock towards the pond. His foot caught against a stone, he tumbles and lands on the rock. Upon witnessing what just took place, he suddenly laughs out loud. He walks over and steps a foot upon the rocks, opposite from where the boy fell, and as he stood there, he starts singing a familiar tune, singing, Nobody knows it but me. The boy ever so quiet, he looks onward towards the waters below, contemplating whether to jump in or not. The boy looks onward and anxiously, hoping that he would jump into the waters below, whence out of nowhere he spoke, saying, Instead of jumping in, I will drain the waters from the pond. Afterwards, he sees the waters receding till it cleared up and was fully empty. He could see the ground below, the pond all dried up. When suddenly, in a flash, they come across a drunken like crowd on the sandy beach, the woman with the wisdom, the man who has the truth, and the woman with the seven spirits. They continue onward until they came across an old wooden white house. And as they stood there, he recalls looking towards the front door of the house. Immediately, he knew something is amiss. He heads on towards the front door and enters in. He glances one way and then the other, in and around the house. He looks up towards the upper level of the second floor and notices a staircase is missing, connecting the bottom of this floor to the upper part of that floor, whence the one who has no power as of yet appears suddenly from behind the kitchen. He converses with him shortly thereafter, but he was rather quiet, whence he spoke and said, I knew something was missing. The three found themselves strolling along a parallel highway. He recalls the man who has the truth, conversing with the woman, the one with the wisdom, when suddenly she starts speaking angrily with a loud tone towards him. He realizes she is angry and being aggressive towards him. He was not happy, nor was he having it. So he said to her with a loud voice, saying, Excuse me. He walks away momentarily, followed by the woman with the spirits. He looks back and sees his fellow looking directly at him. There was anger all around, and he could see how angry she is. She kept yelling and yelling nonstop. When all of a sudden he stops her in her tracks and begins to scold her. She charges towards him, bumping her head towards his chest, but he did not flinch like a wall that could not be moved. She charges a second time from the opposite direction, bumping into him, his feet planted tightly towards the ground. He could not be moved. He yells at the one charging and says, I will take this to Father Yahweh. Come. He starts walking again. When she calls out to him, saying, Put Yahweh first, he responds, saying, I will always put Yahweh first. I always put Yahweh first. And as they were walking, he looks to her and gently says he had visited family while he was out walking. So the three took off walking. When he hears her saying, You're a witness. Upon hearing her, he responds, saying, I'm not a witness. And she responds back, saying, No, no, no. Upon the two going back and forth, he stops her from speaking another word. He looks back towards the woman with the seven spirits and says out loudly, saying, Have you told the woman with the wisdom about the one who has no power as of yet, being the other witness? She responds back, saying, No, I have not. Upon hearing her response, he speaks with a loud voice and says, Well, there you go, knowing she did not mention the one who has no power as of yet, being a witness. So they head back and come across a two-story apartment. There was neither anger nor rage, but silence all around. They stood outside when suddenly the one with no power as of yet appears out of nowhere and lays flat on his back and onto a makeshift table between the three with a staircase leading up towards the second floor. Whence he spoke, saying, I have strep throat. He sits back up and begins to open his mouth. The one who has the truth looks into his mouth and all around, and looks towards the very back of his throat, and notices streaks of vessels along his tonsil. He lays back down momentarily, while the woman with the seven spirits looks into his mouth. And as she looks into his mouth, the one who has the truth heard her saying with a surprised tone, Huh, and as he lay there quietly, he notices he is all but burning up. So he says to the one burning up, If I pray and ask Abba Yahweh to give it to me, will you let the woman with the wisdom know you're the other witness? He was about to pray when he stops a sudden, as if he were stopped from doing so when suddenly he sees the one who has the truth being surrounded by people. He senses something urgent, like he's expecting something from the not known. He finds himself wandering the land towards the waters of the deep. He sees him telling a stranger of a man, saying the water level receded, and that it's not at its natural level. Instantaneously, he sees him afloat midair, floating over the waters. He was heading towards unfamiliar territory, a place of significance and holy place. He floats and floats above the waters till he comes to a sudden stop. He sees a stairwell in front of him, which rose from the deep depths of the waters below and upward towards a beautiful mountain top. Amazed was he at the sights of the ladder, from the base down towards the top of the mount. He ascends up the stairway till he reaches the mountain top. He steps a foot onto the mount and starts walking all around, marveling at the beauty of such a marvelous place. Whence all of a sudden he sees an elderly woman, the old hag, clothed in a black robe, standing across from him. He whom she is, whom did not know whom she was and whether or not she wanted to hurt him. Whence out of nowhere, a messenger appears in the mist, ever so beautiful. She is young and ever so gorgeous as he sighs to himself, dressed in white raiment with beautiful blonde, golden blonde hair. All the sight of her, he sees the messenger, arrayed in white, walking towards the elderly woman, the old hag. She gently reaches out and wraps her arms around the elderly woman when she froze completely without motion. She, he sees the two depart as they sunk, vanishing below the ground. Soon after, he starts walking down a path below the mountaintop when he comes across a stranger of a man standing next to another stairway that led upward towards the mountaintop. A second, he walks upward and onto a second stairwell till he reaches the top. And as he stood there, he sees the elderly woman, the old hag, appear again from nowhere. Wherefore he was trying to cross on over and into another realm physically. However, she is there and will not let him. He rebukes her, and shortly thereafter, he immediately feels a surge of energy, like a rush of electricity running along the length of his spine. Oh, what a feeling! Like it to an armor and a shield, said he. As the energy intensified drastically, he felt stronger and stronger. Unafraid and without fear, he recalls the flow of immense energy pulsating throughout his body. Little did he know he wasn't alone. He then glorifies and praises his Yahweh for everything there is, and there was, now and forevermore. Oh, the joy, and how sweet it is, said he. Hallelujah in the highest, O Yahweh of the universe and all that exists. For the Yahweh gives wisdom, and from his mouth come knowledge and understanding. Holy, holy, holy art thou, O Yahweh of all things, knowing and unknowing, from everlasting to everlasting, and for all eternity. Amen, amen, amen. Hallelujah, naishireva ve Yahweh, lai, ai, leto lehi, eleto, la ele, naraleto, ela Elohai, enara elo, enarai enoai, elele, toanara, tohelei, Eloai Yawa, Eloeli, Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Yahweh, Dole, Ele, Araloai, Eloa, Eloe. Ah, too late. I he mana I hel. I he no hiel. I he it like no I he it time. To hara ahal. E I he no I he it. I he so ahal. E I he lo ahina ah Yahweh yel. Na ahara ahel. E lo ahil. Ihin al. I he lo ai. Ye ya ma I hana ai. To ahara ahal. Taal to he la ihina. Elo ah Yahweh. Tahi. Tahin. Toreharet. Hallelujah. Ayenarael. Holy Enarael Etoel. Holy. Holy is he. Holy. Holy is he. Ah, praise Thee, and be glorified forever and forevermore. Taiheleto Yahweh. Ah, brethren, let us sing the prayer. Let us sing the prayer unto our living Yahweh, the Holy One who is, and there is no other, from everlasting to everlasting. Aileto Yahweh. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy existence, and even so thy name. Thy kingdom has come, thy will is done, on this earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses against thee, and teach us to forgive others the same way you forgive us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from all evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever and forevermore. In the name of the Holy Lamb, the one with the 7 eyes, which are your 7 spirits, whose name on this earth was Yeshua. But in your kingdom nobody knows his name of thee. Moreover, humbly come before him, before your throne. And your name Yodevave Yahweh. For there is no other name but your name. Hallelujah, na Yodevave Yahweh. Hallelujah, na Yodevave Yahweh. Hallelujah, na Yodevave Yahweh. Amen. 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 Praise you, Papa, Yahweh, and be glorified forever and evermore. Hallelujah. Stay here later. Have a wonderful day, brother. Stay here later. Aye.